Hello, welcome to the live stream, Filmmaker IQ live stream. Okay, so welcome to the show today. Won't beat around the bush today. We'll get to it. Um, Maybe I'm in a little bit of what you call a more somber tone. After the excitement of NAB last week, I've had time to reflect on what I've been seeing, and I was definitely teaching a little bit about because I was NAB coincided with my lecture to the students about gear, and I went on an exhaustive 70 some slide presentation of all the possible gear that, not all the possible, most of the, a good chunk of the possible gear that anybody, if you were to do a professional production, what kind of gear could you possibly consider getting? Most of which I have in my studio and have collected over the last 20 years of business. And the topic of virtual production came up, of course, because virtual production is such a kind of a big topic in today's, well, at least at the NAB. And I was looking into I went on Alibaba and I tried to price out what it would cost to build an actual LED screen. Kind of thinking like, well, what could I build something for back there? Like replace those TVs with an actual LED screen. And the costs are still well outside of my budget. I mean, I'm not looking to spend, well, it would be in the neighborhood of 5 figures, at least $9,000 just for the screens. And then you have to add in all the other stuff that you're going to consider possibly adding to it. But in the process of researching the virtual production, I kept seeing over and over and over again that this is a game changer. This is a game changer. This is the future of filmmaking. The future of filmmaking is this LED screen background. And man, oh man, it's just, I'm getting sick of the game changer language. The language, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how long you guys have been doing work. How you doing? Account for comment. I don't know how long you guys have been in this field for. I've now been in it for officially 20 years. This is the 20th year of my starting my business. Come July is when I started my own professional business. Obviously, I was an intern before that, and I've been kind of hanging around in this field. I've seen 20 years of people saying it's a game changer. It's a game changer. The problem, however, is that when people say that, they don't understand what the game actually is. And people would think that the game has always been, I don't know what people assume that the game was creating insanely high-end graphics or something like that, or impossible I don't think it ever has been. I think the game has always been, has been making some sort of story and connection with the audience. And I just feel like just seeing everything recently, as far as what's been being out there producing, the type of technology that's out there, I'm not excited by it. Instead, I see just a tremendous amount of expense and effort to make something that is frivolous and disposable. Like how many of these Disney shows are shot on this volume set or virtual production? How much of that stuff makes it into something that's really remarkably deep and like moving? I've seen so many, not trying to take away from very cool shots being done in certain, TV shows and stuff like that, because obviously, that there's talent and effort, but I'm not excited by any of it. I'm just not excited at all by any of it. One of my extra credit assignments that I have the students do, and this is honestly, if you're asking me what the future of filmmaking is, this is the future I envision. And there are two good friends, and they are two YouTubers. One named Eddie Burback, and I forget the other guy's name. But the other guy, Eddie Burback's friend, asks him, "Hey, I've got an idea for a YouTube video. It's a wild road trip. What we're going to do is we're going to go hit up every single rainforest cafe in North America. And so they do this epic, like 7,000-mile journey all around North America, and they record themselves, and they both produce essentially a 20-minute documentary about their travels. And so my assignment for the students is actually to have them watch both documentaries, because both Eddie Burback and his friend, I can't remember his name, they both produced their own video. And it's fascinating as from a filmmaking perspective to look at the two videos that have the same story, but they're structured differently. The drama points are different. The conflict points are different. And the host personalities are different. The graphics are obviously different. So it's a cool like experiment, kind of like that police set experiment that we did, where you have same story, multiple takes of how to look at it. And it's very instructive, I think, as far as like how to produce a video. But I think that's the future of filmmaking. I think that I saw that like or not a year ago, but maybe a couple, or at least 10 months ago. I'm still thinking about that video, and it has no volumetric production. It's shot largely on GoPros and phones, but it tells a compelling and interesting story by these guys that look about 20 years old or so. I think they're early 20s, maybe early to mid 20s. To me, that is the future of filmmaking, is being able to tell much smaller stories, but in a way that's interesting and exciting. That charges me, not the, because then I look at how much time it takes to set up a virtual set, and I'm thinking, oh my God, it's an insane amount of time to not for one person. It'd be impossible. You have to have a crew of people setting up, multiple screens. You've got to have, I was reading or watching one video, and they're talking about how they really suggest you plan a first day to just prep it and get everything set up right, and then the next day you would actually shoot your production on it, and then I guess tear down it at that point. But it's like the amount of costs involved, and that's the other thing too. So the reason why virtual production is being pushed so hard right now is because there be money in them hills to be made. That's why. Anytime you can convince people with deep pockets to spend a lot of money, that's when you're going to see a lot of heat and action. It's just the truth. I mean, I'm trying. I hope people get a little bit more cynical about filmmaking production stuff like that. It's about selling stuff, selling gear. Okay. You're watching. Adriano blah 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 says, I was watching Gray Zone but prefer John. Hope not Gray Zone. I don't know about that. Oh, waiting for the ads to clear when I know you're here talking live kills me on these live streams. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I put the ads on because I gotta make 10 cents on this thing, man. Like I gotta make something on this stinking thing. But go back to account says, I thought it was a marketing cliche that everyone used because they want to brag that they are up to date with what's going on. Yeah, I know. I'm just so sick of that term. And I think the problem is, and I've said this before on many streams, that I believe that filmmakers on whole have about maybe a 2-year lifespan. Like, I think a lot of people get interested in filmmaking. I'll reiterate, because why not? A lot of people get interested in filmmaking. They think, oh, the glamour. They see a video. They hear about it. So there is a point of filmmaking where you buy the camera, you buy lenses. You're watching all my videos. You're watching, Film Riot. You're watching, the Captain Disillusion. So you're learning all this stuff. And that's exciting, because learning stuff is exciting. It is. You're learning how to use Premiere or Resolve. You're learning color grading. You're getting into LUTs. You're getting all this. You're building all this knowledge, right? So there's a huge excitement curve at the very beginning of filmmaking. And then you learn all that stuff. And then you go, what now? Well, there's nowhere to go, because you learned all the gear, and now unless you're involved with like you can hook up with a company to be producing stuff and making money off it, then you can continue on. But if you're just kind of doing it as a hobby, it peters off. It dies off. So I mean, I mean recently, because I've been kind of, well, I go through bouts of whether I'm active on social media or not. So I go on Reddit and I see a lot. I'm part of like the videography subreddit. I'm part of the editors Reddit. I'm part of Premiere Reddit there. So a lot of what I see are very newbie stuff. Now, of course, Reddit's obviously geared toward younger people and newbie people, but I'm seeing, there's this huge interest. So the thing is, well, my whole point is, those people hear, oh, it's a game changer, and they think it's true because they are so new to this industry. They're so new to this business, and frankly, new to life. Because, how many times have you heard it's a game changer in anything that you do? It's all marketing hype. But I mean, like for example, that video I made about 32-bit float. That was a direct response from hearing everybody tell me how 32-bit float was a game changer. And I'm just telling people, like, no, it's not. You still have to, you have to like put your microphone in front of the person and properly put stuff up. So I have YouTube Premium. I hope a few decimal of yearly subscription. Thank you very much. I know my friends, I think, are allergic to paying for stuff online. Because I do derive some of my income from being online through Patreon, through YouTube Premium. I'm not afraid. Like, I personally, I make money on online YouTube and stuff like that. So therefore, I'm not against giving people money and paying for subscriptions for creators I like, So like, I'm a Patreon. I've got Captain Disillusion. I love Captain Disillusion. So I've been giving him some little bucks here and there. Nothing that's going to take his tax bracket up any. But I've got Patrick H. Willems on there, though I haven't watched his stuff in a while, but I still support him. So I still give back, I guess. But yeah, so I do pay for YouTube Premium, and let me tell you, YouTube Premium is worth it in my opinion, because I watch a lot of YouTube. I really do. And to not have any ads at all and then having the background player is really a benefit. I like that. So there will be more filmmakers than DJs. That's probably true. We have a character that in my universe that I'm trying to write, and he goes by the name 2020. The character's name is 2020 because the girl that named him 2020 doesn't know his real name, and she had a one-night stand with 2020 on New Year's Day of 2020, and it's the second worst thing that happened that year. Anyhow, very few people have a tale to tell, so all film tools are useless. Yeah, and that's you kind of get to the point of what I'm trying to say, is that ultimately it's not about the craft and the cameras and the virtual production and the anamorphic lens and the slider and the jib and the gimbal. It's about the story and the performances. And I've been watching, I've been keeping up with season 3 now of Ted Lasso. I'm up on that. I've been watching. I'll talk about some more. The second season of Schmigadoon, and I'm not, I'm watching. Yeah, I'm watching obviously for the quality of the work, but it's the performances that I watch for. I'm not. I don't care about. I don't care about 4:22 color space if the performances aren't any good. How do I feel about 16 millimeter? I'm not sure I've ever heard you talk about it. I don't talk much about film, like shooting film, because I've never shot motion picture film. I shot stills film, and I obviously shot 35 millimeter stills. But I've never shot 35 millimeter motion because, frankly, I don't have that kind of money to throw. I was pricing it out the other day. I was like, you can get like 1,000-foot roll of Kodak. Like, I don't want to say it's Tri-X. It might have been Tri-X, but I was like, it's like $200 for a roll of film for like 9 minutes of footage. It's like, I'm too poor for that. I'll spend the I might spend $200 on a CFast card, off brand. Don't get the SanDisk, get the off brand CFast card. It's only $150. Try it out. If it doesn't work, send it back to Amazon. But on that CFast card, I can shoot for 2 hours and then dump it off and shoot 2 more hours, and dump that off and shoot 2 more hours. So, anyhow. Do I have a favorite book on filmmaking or film in general? I've finished Vertigo, The Making of Hitchcock Classic, and it was fantastic. So there's one by Bruce, I think his name is Bruce Block, called The Seven Visual, it's like the 7 visual things of I'm trying to, let me look it up here. Bruce Block, I think it was 7 visual language or something like that. That book got me Bruce Block's Visual Components for Filmmakers. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know if that's it. Bruce Block is the author of this book. And Visual Story, now is that what it is? I'm trying to see it. Visual Story Creating Structure. There it is. No, that's not it. But that's one of my favorites because it got me thinking in terms of, he lays out some very interesting concepts in terms of visual style. So he talks about like creating depth through color, through contrast and stuff like that. Visual Story, there it is. Visual Story, second edition, creating visual structure in the visual structure of film, TV, and digital media. Hey, it's only $10, or you can get used for $10. Bruce Block, B-L-O-C-K. I think that book altered my thinking in terms of how to create pictures and compose images, and that's a great book. And the people ask me, on these streams, that what is my favorite. That's probably that's the one I always reach for, because I think that's just such a keen book. And speaking of keen, Jason Keen says Bruce Block's book is great. There you go. Second on that. So, come to think of it, maybe why creatives talk more about the camera game changer rather than art is probably because they are more objective. Yeah, I just think, I think you're earlier correct at saying that, that, what's it called? That it's just, everyone's just trying to pretend like they're up on the coolest thing. I imagine there's some FOMO, right? My phone keeps going off. Well, who's talking? Oh, it's my friends doing the chatting. They're all like, they were thinking about getting together tonight, but I don't think they're going to. So that means they get to watch more Schmigadoon tonight. Uh-oh, I guess we are doing something. Change is back on. I'm a stream. Trying to call me. All right, I'll just... Cool. On stream. All right, cool. I think we're going to watch a Neil Breen movie. Get some more Neil Breen going, actually, going today. All right, back to you guys. Sorry about that. That was a unplanned emergency text. We need to get together and watch Neil Breen movies. Is there any movie based on The Catcher in the Rye J.D. Salinger book? That's a good question. I would have thought there was a movie, but J.D. Salinger just might have been like, no one's making a movie of my book. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe. Well, I guess there was a movie, right? Catcher in the Rye official trailer 2014. Huh. Surprisingly, given its status, Catcher in the Rye has never been made into a movie. Many major Hollywood producers and directors have tried to secure the rights, but none of them succeeded in earning the trust of J.D. Salinger or his estate. Well, there you go. So, but they could, they could convince them that, hey, we've got virtual production and it's a game changer. So let us make your movie because it's a game changer. See what I mean? It's like, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not a game changer because the game has never been just about visuals. Anyhow. All right. Oh, if it makes you feel better, Kodak just announced a price increase. Oh, God. I'm not made of gold either. Yeah, no, like I mean, I've shot a few. I'll pay for the still film, and I haven't even done still film in a long. I haven't done any photography in a while. It's just I got so busy and stuff that it's just too much stuff to do. I like to go back and do some photography, but right now I'm in a weird state. First of all, okay, just to let you guys in on my personal life. My arm's been killing me. It's been killing me for like 3 weeks now. I'm probably gonna go make a call to the doctor on Monday to like, hey, let's see what's going on. I thought it was my neck. Then I thought, well, it's not really my neck, it's my shoulder, and it's really my arm and shoulder. The whole thing. I don't know what I did to it. Maybe I did some I've been going to the gym. Maybe I went crazy on the little assisted pull-ups. Maybe it was racquetball. I don't know. But my shoulder's been killing me, and I need to fix something. But so it's making me feel like crap. If I sit in a chair, like I was working today on fixing my cables. So we've got a couple shoots coming up this week. One multicam shoot, which I can't make, but I'm going to have my buddy work on it. But I was getting all the cables ready. I was making some new cables, and my arm was feeling great. It was absolutely feeling fine. Then I went over to my desk over there, and I wrote a check for the rent. But for some reason, the way that chair and the way that table is, the way my arm has to sit on the table, man, it just killed my arm. It was awful. So my arm's just been like, right now it's sort of just dull pain. So I've been there the whole time. I'm just tired. I've got like a bunch of stuff coming up this week. We're going to start entering the rehearsals for Jesus Christ Superstar, which I'm playing trumpet in. So that's starting on Monday. I've got a meeting with a waste management kind of company, or a trash, garbage collection company, that they're going to talk about a new California state law that requires people to compost, and they want to make a video about that. I've got, a school district that wants me to produce some videos for their awards, end of the year awards for their district. So I've just been like just storming the crap out of me. So, but yeah, my arm hurts. So thank you so much, Certain Exposures, for, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like, it's probably not the worst thing in the world to have some arm pain, but doesn't help my psyche. I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I just want to go home and watch Smigadoon. So let me just bring up Smigadoon, because I'll never get a chance if I keep talking about it. So Smigadoon, if you didn't know, it's on Apple TV. Smigadoon in the first season, and frankly, it's not a general audience show. It's a show probably made for like 2% of people, and I happen to be in that 2%. So the first season of the show, so it's Keegan-Michael Key and Cecily Strong. They're a couple. They're having problems, and they go into the forest on a hike, and they land in this place called Schmigadoon, where it's like a musical. Everything's a musical. Everyone's singing and dancing, and they're like real people. So like they're seeing this weird thing, and they try to get out of it, but they can't get out until they find true love. Right. So that's the story of the first season. It's a comedy. It's tongue in cheek. It was kind of making fun of the golden era of musicals. The sort of the Robert Preston Music Man, Brigadoon, Sound of Music, those kind of movies. Season 2, okay, they come back. They want to come back and rekindle something, and instead of finding a Brigadoon style, very very turn of the century Americana place, they in a place called Schmicago, and Schmicago is supposed to be like the darker 1960s musicals. And frankly, those are my favorite kinds of musicals. And oh my God, the season 2 is perfect for me. I just love season 2. So they're referencing Pippin a lot. There's a lot of Pippin references in it. If you guys don't know Pippin, it's kind of a more obscure musical. I happen to play it as the college did it, and I was involved with playing trumpet and French horn for that. And so it's not influenced by Pippin. It's influenced by Chicago, by all the Bob Fosse musicals. Like there's a little bit of the Big Spender in there. It's amazing, because as they're going through all their parody songs, I can pick out every single one, and they hit me kind of like a hammer because I can hear, up, that's Into the Woods, up, that's Big Spender, up, that's Chicago, that's Pippin, that's. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen Godspell, so I don't know if they try to sneak some Godspell. But songs often parody more than one track or one genre. There's this one great scene. So what happens is Keegan Michael Keyes gets they find they go to like a Kit Kat club, so cabaret, right? They go to Kit Kat club and then they find a dancer has been killed. Like she's dead on the ground, and Keegan Michael Keyes finds her. He's a doctor, so he's trying to revive her, and he says nothing we can do. And then the police show up. And so that they try to bail, but the police immediately assume that he killed her. And he didn't kill her, right? So there you got that Chicago reference. So now they hire Jane Krakowski to be the attorney, and she's kind of like the Billy Flynn of the Chicago. So she brings them out. It's like, okay, 10 minutes from your press conference. All right, but keep your mouth shut and stick to the script there. And so Keegan Michael Keyes is trying to read his scripts like he's saying, she didn't deserve to die. I don't know what happened and I don't know why, but there's one thing we all know. The reason why of her death is solely due to jazz. and the 1930s press reporters like, jazz! I knew it, man! I knew it! It's always jazz. And then they cut to this one jazz like saxophonist and he's like, oh man! It just cracks me up every time I see that. So much. There's so that's just so freaking hilarious. Anyhow, so at one point, they capture a hippie, and the hippie gets like sent into jail, and then the hippie breaks everybody out. But the hippie becomes like the hair tribute, and then the last part of the last show I watched. They have a bad guy in the show, and he starts singing "Jesus Christ Superstar," and I'm just losing at that point because I didn't think that they would even try to attempt Jesus Christ. Will they go for Rocky Horror? I don't know. I would love to see them go for a Rocky Horror, but that is something. I don't know if I'd recommend to anybody in this room to watch this show because, frankly, I'll be honest. If you don't know these musicals, you're not going to get much out of it, I don't think. Now, I've been watching it too, and I've been wondering, is this shot on a virtual production? Because some of it could be. It makes sense. But the production value is great. It's really pretty. It's the production design is really gorgeous. Really, really well done. And so, anyhow, all these things make me want to run away very fast. It's funny because at the very beginning, so Keegan Michael Keyes doesn't really like musicals in the show. His character doesn't really like musicals. His wife, Cecily Strong, loves musicals, but doesn't love this style of musical, which is the Bob Fosse 1960s, 1970s, darker, grimmer style musicals. So, but when they first go into there, because Bob Fosse, if you guys don't know Bob Fosse's very stylistically sexual productions. A lot, the whole jazz hands things comes from Bob Fosse's tradition. Jazz hands. But also Bob Fosse has a lot of women in underwear wearing fishnet stockings, showing a lot of skin. And so when Keegan Michael Keyes doesn't like musicals, he's like, hey, I kind of like this. So that's why I think the musicals that I love are from this era because they're much edgier, they're a lot sexier, really sexier, and I think people that say I don't like musicals, you should give some of these later era musicals a chance because they are so very, very darker, edgier. Have they faced legal action for calling it Schmigadoon for cringe? No. So Schmigadoon it's a parody. It's totally just making fun of the fact that it's Brigadoon. And it's also produced by what's his face, SNL dude. The producer of SNL. So he's got his fingers in it too. It's written by Cinco. Oh gosh, I gotta look it up. Schmigadoon. Cinco Paul, I think. Schmigadoon. So Cinco Paul is the writer for like a lot of. There he is. Where are you? Cinco. Hold on. Let me just pull up his name real quick. It is Cinco Paul. Yeah, I was right. Cinco Paul and Ken Dorio. They collaborated on scripts like Despicable Me franchise, Horton Hears a Who, Lorax, Secret Life of Pets. So, I mean, kind of more children's or animation, kind of more family friendly animation. So this is more their comedy series. But I think it's brilliant. It's such a great parody. So Paul was named after Cinco de Mayo. There you go, because the celebration held on his birthday. That's why they call him Cinco. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, he's also a Mormon apparently too. He won a short film competition and received a fellowship to USC Film School, where he graduated in 1993. Cool. Yeah, that seems like a pretty. If you can get a full ride to USC, I would say go ahead and do it. Does Moulin Rouge count as musical? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It definitely does. It's a jukebox musical. Yeah. Yeah, it's also a show too, right? Yeah, I believe they turned it into a show. Grease is my favorite. Says Stranger Sound. Yeah, I came to Grease very late, so I don't know if I appreciate it that much, and I also understand that the Grease on stage is a little bit more risque than the Grease on film. As I understand it, like a lot of high schools put on Grease, and the people are like, "Really? We're gonna let kids do this?" Okay, because it's a lot about a lot of horniness. What is a jukebox musical? A jukebox musical is a musical that incorporates songs that have already been written before the musical was created. So, like an example, actually, the most famous example of a jukebox musical that people don't realize is Singing in the Rain. So, if you know that Singing in the Rain is Singing in the Rain, all the songs from Singing in the Rain were actually written for other movies before Singing in the Rain came along. So, like Singing in the Rain itself, the song Singing in the Rain comes from like 1930s Gold Diggers in 1933, I think. And if you watch the movie, I'm trying to think of the movie that had a little quick scene of it. And oh man, I saw this movie and I'm trying to remember. So there's a scene where basically they're in front of Noah's Ark, and all the famous movie stars of 1933 were all there singing the song. They go, "Sing in the rain, just sing in the rain." Like Buster Keaton's in there, like the girl with the locks. What's her name? But all the famous people were in there. Yeah, so Blues Brothers would be another example of a jukebox musical. Another example, it's a more modern one, is the Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia, which is based on all of ABBA's catalog of songs, that's a jukebox musical. I'm trying to think of another one. So like The Boy from Oz, if you guys are familiar with that one, that's a pretty good one. That's based on Peter Allen's life that Wolverine, Hugh Jackman played and won a Tony for that. So yeah, jukebox musicals are anything that have basically combined songs that have been previously written. They might add a song and they might like combine certain songs and create different stuff, but that's what a jukebox musical. If you understand the idea, it's a jukebox, right? You put your money in and then you play the songs. So, yeah. All I remember from Blues Brothers was a shake your tail feather thing, which could make it a jukebox. Not just that, but all the Minnie the Moocher from Blues Brothers. I think the original songs, the Blues Brothers themes, I think were original, but shake a tail feather, anything with you gotta think from what's her name? The Queen of Soul. God dang it, I can't remember her name. But yeah, everything in Blues Brothers is traditionally blues rock kind of musical. I just finished the Italian musical 1960s Rita the Mosquito Films by Lina Wertmuller. It has a 22-year-old singer portraying a 12-year-old pretending to be a 20-year-old singer to woo her teacher. That could get into some dangerous trouble there. Have you ever much experience with non-English musicals? No, I don't. No, I don't. That'd be kind of interesting. It'd be interesting to see some non-music. I mean, I know, yeah, I know India's famous for Bollywood musicals, right? But I've never seen let's say a French musical. Aretha Franklin, thank you. Not Aretha Franklin. Ugh, Aretha. I'm trying to think. What was the movie I saw? I saw a movie where the lead character was. They asked him to be part of the uh, Singing in the Rain thing. But I'm trying to remember the name of the dang movie. Was it? Oh, that's what it was. Oh yeah, it was that shitty movie Babylon. That's what it. Yeah, yeah. It's in the. I mean, it's in the Babylon. Because as I remind everybody, Damien Chazelle is me but evil. Like Damien Chazelle and I have the exact same like tastes and affinity for certain subject matters in the world of film and music. Yet we have completely opposite, diametrically opposed like sensibilities, diametrically opposed. But we both have a love affair with musicals, music, jazz, and film. But we have diametrically opposed sensibilities. So, I gotta watch Umbrellas of Cherbourg. I just haven't seen that movie. It's about time. It really is about time I need to see that thing. That's scandalous. Between this and the Mussolini character, I said we cancel Italy. Let's cancel Italy and go back to Rome. Let's go back to calling it Rome. You know, we need to do that. And I was going down a rabbit hole, like thinking of, because I was in preparation for Jesus Christ Superstar. I watched the movie, which is okay. It's not great, but then I'm watching like Passion of the Christ. And I kind of went down the whole rabbit hole of like how Rome was portrayed in the Bible and in the way that they would discuss it. You know, listening to some people analyze like how Rome is like the might is right kind of mentality. And I'm wondering, you know, like it's a very stereotypical, you know, perspective of what Rome is, you know, but it's it's interesting how Rome became such a bad guy, you know, in those stories. And you know, if you were in Italy, you might not think that Romans were that necessarily that bad. What have Romans ever done for us? Well, they brought us Roman numerals, you know, and what would movies be if we didn't have Roman numerals, right? You couldn't have like Star Wars IV. It'd just be a Star Wars letter number 4. And no one wants that. No one wants that at all. So I think the most important thing is Roman numerals. And as you remember, like if you don't learn your Roman numerals, you'll never know the year that certain things are copyright. If you know Simpsons, that you're laughing on the floor. If you don't know Simpsons, you think that John, that's stupid. But yeah, if you watch The Simpsons, you know what I'm talking about. You have a clear agenda, dude, but I like you, but get over yourself. Who's that? What's my agenda? Talking about Roman numerals? Yeah, Roman numeral system does not have a 0, which makes it uncivil for math. Exactly. Could you imagine trying to, like, okay, so I got x minus VII. All right, so okay, so that's III. Well, no, I've got V minus VII. Carry over the I from here. So I'm going to put 2 no, and then you're getting crazy. There it is. Somebody did it. Rocky 6, Adrian's Revenge. Yep. There you go. I also had to think of The Simpsons with Bart instant face smile. Oh, that's VMix not being able to tell me what exactly your emoji was. There it is. It's like blue. I mean, it gives you a description of it. Oh, good. I got an email from a guy that wants me to do a documentary. He wants to submit to the board of supervisors. So, hey, maybe we get some money out of that. I'm going to get busy. So I haven't built a new computer in at least I think my work computer is about, I want to say 4 or 5 years old. It's getting up there. Honestly, though, it chugs along. It's okay. It's okay. I have some issues with it recently. I mean, it's sometimes a little bit unstable, but I've been kind of thinking about getting a new one. And I did talk to Puget Systems when I was an NAB, and I did price the system from Puget Systems, but it's like $6,000 for a computer. Now, it's going to be a pretty badass bitch computer, man. It'll be pretty nice, but $6,000, ooh, that's kind of a chunk of change. So I don't know. I mean, I could probably build it cheaper, but I wouldn't be building it as good as what Puget System could do. You guys know Puget Systems, right? They're the ones that help out Corridor Digital. And if Corridor Digital does their stuff, well, they probably have like $30,000 computers. And maybe they'll probably give them computers too because they're famous and I'm not. Could you imagine Roman floating point numerals? It's like, I should rename my video, why you don't need to record in floating XXXII bit. Floating bit. There you go. All right. Yeah, it's not like it's not like the 90s when you need a computer every 6 months. I agree with it. Yeah, you're probably right. And the thing is also, like, my workflow hasn't necessarily gotten that much harder in the last 4 years or so because it's still 1080. I'm still working with, I mean, I guess I was shooting 4K back in those days. Yeah, I've been shooting 4K for at least 4 years now. So it hasn't really changed. I shoot 4K and then I dump down to 1080. I occasionally wonder if I should give my clients 4K because, like, well, I edit in 4K and I might as well just. But the answer is no, because a lot of clients won't see the benefit of 4K, and all they'll see is just larger file sizes. Like tomorrow I'm going to be doing another concert, a classical concert. But, even giving them a 2-hour 1080p video is 16 gigabytes. If I gave them 2-hour video for 4K, you got to be, because I think I dumped down to like 25 megabits per second. So at least 50 or more, I'd be 32 gigabytes. It's going to be, it's going to be a lot. And it's the various reminds us 4K is a game changer, guys. It is a game changer. I mean, I'll admit that I shoot the 4K because my cameras are capable of shooting 4K, and why not? And they do look better if I just shot at 1080p. I don't know. Then again, there is one client that I do just because it's kind of a very low budget client, and I don't feel like the need for 4K at all because the shots are so simple. That I do shoot that one in 1080, and boy, when I shoot 1080 and I edit in 1080, it's like my computer's like he. It just blasts right through it. So easy to work with in 1080. And that client, it's my friend that does the piano lessons. Like I have a good shot of it's just some kids playing piano, her students playing piano. And I got like 3 good angles, and they're pretty close up. You get to see their face, and it's really good. You don't need 4K. If I'm shooting like a concert with like a lot of people on stage, there's lots of detail. Okay, maybe the 4K will help out. But the 1080, if you could just stick in 1080, I should just shoot this thing in 1080. Just be done with it. I don't know, but part of me is like, shoot 4K, and torture yourself. Anyhow. Have I watched Where the Crawdads Sing yet? I'm not good at watching stuff. I haven't seen it yet, no. I'm still making my way through Schmigadoon. And I haven't, let's see, I don't think I've even watched a movie since last week. When I saw Air. I really enjoyed Air, by the way. Last week I talked about it. I mean, it's not going to do well in theaters. It's honestly, and I was telling my friend about this. Honestly, Air is a movie sort of been designed to be watched at home because the shot selections are very tight. Like they do like very, very tight close-ups. And in a theater, it's got a different feel to it. In a theater, it feels a little claustrophobic. You're so close to this guy's face. On a television screen, it might not be as much of a deal. So I feel like that movie is more designed for home viewing, and it will be because it's shot for Amazon. So it'll be a theater, or it'll be in your home theater soon. Beep Cox says, good to catch me live. Thank you. Have I thought of setting up a mail list to notify people of upcoming streams, allow websites to send notifications and at them? Not yet. I'm slowly getting to this point where I'm trying to make this a more professional, well, take the word professional, a more organized system of doing a live stream. The hurdle for me is to just get to the point where I do this every week. Make sure I do it every week. Now, occasionally, as a videographer that does events, my weekends aren't always mine. And like last week, I had to do a Sunday because my Saturday was shooting a concert. This week, I'm shooting a concert tomorrow, so that's why I'm streaming today. So weekends are always up in the air for me as far as what I can do. So that's why I never tend to make it so super regular. But right now, I agree. I should make a system where I can like notify people or make it a little bit more regular. I'm just sort of playing with it at this point and seeing how it goes, and also learning my own voice and how to speak, and because I got to train the AI in here. Shoot, I shouldn't have said that. Dang it. But anyhow, that's why you can look for me on the weekends, sometime in afternoon Pacific time. That's where we are now. I'm going to try to make it, as things get a little bit bigger and grow, and I get more settled, that hopefully they'll be more, locked in. Oh, I burned through Documentary Now recently. There you go. The thing that I love that show. The thing is, I haven't seen half the documentary, so I don't get all those references. Have I seen the Dune 2 article? I just saw the headline. The Dune 2 article. It said Dune 2 will pick up exactly where the viewer nodded off in the first one. I didn't actually click on the actual video or the article. Letterman did a musical tribute to the Super Bowl XLVIII, where the lyrics were just Roman numerals in order from 1 to 48. XLVIII. Okay. It's actually a pretty great song. They pulled it off. There you go. Do you ever master productions we put on Blu-ray, or does that not play a role anymore? Yes, I have. Not so much recently. Like all my client work now, except for one client that occasionally needs a Blu-ray, all of my clients are digital. Just give them a digital copy, USB or something like that. Blu-ray authoring is a pain in the wow. It's annoying. I'm an Adobe guy. I would solidly say I'm an expert in almost all the Adobe programs. There's still stuff I don't know about Adobe yet. There's still stuff for me to learn, but I'm very solid in all the Adobe. Adobe used to have a program called Adobe Encore. Adobe Encore was designed to burn DVDs and then later on burn Blu-rays. I got really good at mastering that stuff. And then Adobe pulled the plug on it, probably because they had to pay a licensing fee for something or another, and they didn't want to pay the fee anymore, or I don't know, something happened. And now there's no more Encore, and there really, at this point, is no good professional, accessible Blu-ray software out there. There are Blu-ray software that is like the high end, where the studios use to master stuff. That can be very expensive. And then there's consumer crap, and that's just so. I went through, like, I must have bought like 3 or 4 consumer level stuff, and I still don't remember exactly which one I like the best. I hate them all with a passion. I hate the consumer authoring for DVD and Blu-rays, because what annoys me so much is I can't create a custom menu in these consumer versions. I have to go with whatever, cheesy template menus that I can't, like, I just want to have a menu with a picture, like a screen grab and the word play on the bottom. I can't do that. No, I have to do they still make DVD Architect? No, they don't. That's Sony, right? Like that's the annoying thing. I was looking for that. because I heard the DVD Architect was like the best alternative Encore, but Sony I think has dropped and killed that. So the ones I've been using are these like there's Wondershare Burner, and there's something called I think it's Liawo Leawo, and I use this other one from China. I mean they're all from China, but this one with a monkey face on it. So that one's kind of my favorite right now because I can burn images, or I can make a real basic just play from just start playing. Because the only Blu-rays I have to deliver is for one client who uses the Blu-ray in their restaurants as a menu board, or as not as a menu board, but as a sort of like a ad loop that shows all their food, and then like their community involvement. So it's like a loop of all the it's like just it's pleasant stuff, right? So they want theirs just a loop. They don't want to pop it in, just pop the the Blu-ray in, and just don't even need to hit play. It just loops forever. So that's the only reason I use Blu-ray authoring. Yeah, you got me started on a rant about Blu-rays. I hate it too. I hate if a client says I need a DVD. Or the worst part is a client will say, I need you to make me a CD. And you're like, no, you don't need me to make you a CD. You need me to make you a Blu-ray or a DVD. But you don't want me to make you a CD. Please, for God's sakes, don't make me. I've been in this business for 20 years. I've been here for 20 years. I've made CDs. I've made DVDs. I've made Blu-rays. I've got boxes of unsold DVDs over there for clients I've made stuff for. Anyhow. Yeah, it's frustrating when good software goes away with no decent replacement. Absolutely. And the thing is, I get it. The DVD physical media is for the most part dead, unless you're buying it. Unless you're buying like Criterion Collection DVDs and stuff like or Blu-rays. But yeah, all that stuff is gone. How do you archive VCD into digital version? Well, you just take this data off of it and then put it on the cloud. What annoyed me most was about the movies on DVD and Blu-ray were the unskippable trailers and advertising. Yeah, what the frack? What the frack? Yeah. It's funny because we went to see on 420. My friend wanted me to go see The Big Lebowski. So we went to see The Big Lebowski on 420. And I was like, well, it's a Fathom Events. So it's Fathom Events at Edwards Theater. Now, I've got the Edwards subscription, but your subscription does not cover Fathom Events. So I got to pay $14 to see it. Okay, fine. So and I'm thinking like, well, I'm paying extra for a Fathom Events. There shouldn't be any trailers or too many trailers. No, there's just a bunch of trailers for Fathom Events, and it's just nonstop trailers for Fathom Events. This thing, that thing. They did the week or the month of Studio Ghibli. And they have a live version of, not Totoro, Spirited Away. Like a live Broadway-style musical rendition of Spirited Away. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing that, actually. So I think it's all in Japanese, too. So there you go, musical in Japanese. That'd be nice. Last year I bought a 1915 Victrola player. Yeah, cool. Physical media forever. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember that Barry White. Yeah, that was pretty good. I listened to it. He truly had every reason to be pissed off as he was about the radio spot he was recording, as I feel the text was indeed overlong, confusing, and wordy. Welcome to the world of advertising. It's like I used to do. So I started my career started in commercial advertising. Like I used to do 30-second commercials for businesses and stuff like that. Let me tell you, small mom and pops do not understand how to advertise their business, especially in 30 seconds. Like today, today I would think 30 seconds, I could pull off a script in 30 seconds. But when you tell a client, like, you've got 30 seconds on air to tell me about your business, they want to stuff it to the gills with so much garbage and unnecessary. Oh, make sure you tell them we've been in business for 25 years. Make sure you tell them this. We did, we won the award for, best things. Make sure you tell them that our customer service is ranked. Make sure you tell them this. And it's just like overstuffed, scripts. It's just annoying. Does the venue provide you with an audio of of the concert you film, or do you record the audio yourself? If so, how? Good question. My belief is, okay, so unless I've been to one venue that's given me a very good sound feed, and that's the McCallum Theater in Palm Springs. Those guys are top notch. I loved shooting there. I would show up with my gear, and they would say, "Here's a couple XLRs, and that's it." And I just like, all right, all right, all right. I just plug in my camera, and away I go. And I love the McCallum Theater. McCallum Theater is probably one of well, it's the top theater of Palm Springs. It's legit. It's awesome. Those guys, I used to record the symphony, the Coachella Symphony out there, I loved doing that. That was perfect. No other venue has that level of work. So if you do a venue that has like a really professional sound reinforcement people that do their job, that really know what they're doing, then that's great. You just get a sound feed from them, and you plug it in your camera, and away you go. Right? Not the way it is with anything else. So like I'll record theaters, but I'm not bashing anybody, right? But I record concerts, that are being staged at a high school theater. Now these high school theaters, the new ones they build, are really nice. People always remark how amazing they are. They're really, really nice. The acoustics in them are terrific. What I am doing, but when people ask me to record a video of a performing arts group, especially a musical performing arts group, what they're really asking me is to record the audio. That's my philosophy. I would never show up with just a camera and record in the back. Even if you told me, "Hey, we can't really afford you to do," no. I need to record good audio. Audio is more important than video. In fact, I could just leave a still. If I were to charge you as little, I would just say one camera, but you got to have good audio. So what I do is I've got two big 15-foot boom arm microphone holders. I put them up. And I stagger them about 15 to 20 feet in the air, kind of pointing to the group. And then I'll do this for tomorrow. I'll put another pair in the center and then run that all to my Zoom and record 4-channel audio, 24-bit. I don't need 32-bit. I can dial my gain settings. And and then I shoot cameras in the back and I sync it later. So that's what I do. That's how I record audio for these things. And I personally thought that I think the audio has been really good. Some of the directors will keep insisting that I try to move the microphones back. I have a feeling that, and it kind of annoys me a little bit because I'm like, you guys don't realize how good it sounds. Because if I move if I pull those microphones back, it's going to sound less good, less gooder. It's going to sound worse. But, I understand what they're going for. They don't, I think what they hear a little bit too, the different philosophy between like whether you do close-up miking versus like far-away miking, and where I have the microphones, it's in the range of a, it's not in the seats. It's right on the edge of the stage, so it's not quite close-up. It's not quite far, hall sound. But also you're not getting the crowd noise as much. I think it sounds pretty good. And as a content maker, I prefer the close-up sound than I would do to the hall sound, because the hall sound to me sounds muddled and not expensive, if you want to be it that way. Native wave format in hardware is already 32-bit. The problem is audio in hardware. I don't know exactly that. I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. The wave audio is whatever bit it is, right? Your program can be working in 32-bit float, of course, but the file itself is whatever the file is up. Do you like to have the sound in concert mixed 5.1 or keep it stereo? I just keep it stereo. I don't have the capability of monitoring 5.1, so I just don't. And frankly, my clients don't have I don't think my clients have 5.1. Most people probably don't have 5.1. So I wouldn't even know how people would listen to it. All right, anyhow. Physical media is important for preservation, collecting, and also the premium way to truly own and watch a film. It has its place. But also, bit rate of 4K is much superior to streaming. Absolutely. Totally agree. All right. I don't remember what my reply about it was on the. Oh, was the Barry White thing I was talking about? I talked to the guys at Blurbuster. I think Mark and some more. He set me up. He set me straight on one of the things one of the theories I had about scan lines, and he set me straight on that one. So, it's interesting. Like, I don't on film stuff. I feel like I'm pretty expert, right? But on technology of screens, I'm not really an expert. And so learning, like, I've got my theories, but they're not tested the way that those guys have tested those theories. So, but I think our discussions about, so one of the videos, I've got 3 videos in mind to continue the frame rate discussion. One of the videos is going to be why your gaming monitor makes movies look bad, because it does. And it has to do with what's called gray to gray. So basically it's the fact that old monitors actually kind of blended the frames together because they were slow in how the frame would go from one frame and it would blend to the next frame and blend to the next frame. But the modern gaming monitors are so fast that the blend is almost instantaneous. And that actually exacerbates stutter. It actually makes stutter worse, right? So I know we have to get into frame rate on these discussions, right? We have to do it. So, I mean, the ironic thing is, and we talked a little bit about this, and something that I might explore is utilizing high frame rate to display 24 frames a second better. The theory is let's say you have 1,000 frames per second video. Let's say we get to that point. And that's the goal of what these guys are talking about, is 1,000 frames a second. If you have 1,000 frames a second, you can simulate the look of a triple-bladed shutter in a movie theater. You can also create that slight gray-to-gray reaction between every frame of 24. So that's where I might be going. And I might be doing something like talking about how we can utilize, say, 120 frames a second to make 24 frames a second look better by introducing that slight little bit of blur between, not blur, but it's a blend between each frame, which kind of will take down the stutter a little bit. But sometimes, again, and he brought this up too. Sometimes you want that stutter though. Sometimes, like a movie like Crank, you want that kind of cranky, the hard cut, right? So there we go. This is a good question. Count for comments. What are the genuine game changers in your 20-year career? What camera model convinced you that film are no longer more valuable? Good question. So I think personally the game changer, but again, well, that's the thing. So the one I want to reach for would be the DSLR revolution, DSLR revolution, in that it suddenly made shooting a cinematic look possible for a very, very low budget. Like when my friend, I first introduced to it, I think about 8 or 9 years ago now, with a Canon 7D. He brought a 7D onto one of my first major short film set, and we shot. So that movie was shot with a traditional video camera, the PD-150 with a 35 millimeter adapter that created that 35 millimeter look. But that thing ate up so much light. But it was a look that we all love. We all were craving. We're all going for. But it ate light like a monster. It was ridiculous. At least 2 or 3 stops light loss on that. And then, so he brought his 7D, which is had just come out at the time. Canon 7D. This is after the 5D Mark II had already been out, right? 5D Mark II was the first camera. The 7D came out, was kind of like the APS-C style size lens, and we shot a little campfire scene. And there's no way you could have shot a campfire scene with a campfire. No lights, just the campfire providing the natural light. And we shot that with that camera. I was like, wow, you can do this with this light. Now, the question is, did it change the game? Because no, it didn't. it changed the way we were able to shoot. It gave us more possibilities. But the game of producing movies, of getting them seen, of getting them out there, didn't really change. If you want to take back, if you want to have a game changer, I guess YouTube would have been the game changer. The internet is the game changer. Being able to send these files at, producing all these other avenues for video and all that. That's probably more of a game changer than anything as far as like cameras or anything like that. But anyhow, I would say, yeah, those large sensors took a while. It took a long time for them to kind of mature and become usable things, basically. Anyhow. The instant reaction time of OLED gets you great motion resolution, but also the charming stutter that I like. Well, there you go. The motion resolution, that's the it's going to be an interesting talk when I get to that point in the video, in my range of frame rates discussion. And nice to see your conversation go with Mark. It's still going well. I look forward to your videos. Of course, the most radical HFR performance will say just shoot 1,000 FPS, no stutter, no blur. The discussion about the 1,000 FPS is actually interesting, just in the fact that 1,000. When it was first brought up, I think in the Red forums, the 1,000 FPS, people kind of didn't understand that they assumed you had to shoot 1,000 frames a second. And the reality is, no, that's not if you have 1,000 frames a second to work with, you have all of a sudden a lot more freedom to control precisely how your viewer watches your film in 24 frames a second. So I can introduce that shutter, the look of the bladed shutter. I can introduce gray to gray. I can do stuff that is interesting inside of that framework. All right, that's why. Anyhow, did I use the MKH416? I don't think I have that one. I have one Sennheiser, but it's I'm trying to remember what it's the boom mic. Oh, maybe I do have one. Is that what it is? It looks familiar. I think I have one I use. I've been using a mix of that and the Rode NT2, I believe. Or NT, I think the NT2. Yeah, the MK. So what I discovered, I think, with the Sennheiser over the years, I felt had a little bit of a harsh sound to it. Although I wonder if that's more to do with my EQ and how I was working with it. But I'm using the Rode NTs too, and again, they were a sponsor at one point, so they gave me like a couple of them. So I have 2 of them. So I have 3 shotgun mics. I put them on the cameras and stuff like that. But $1,000. I don't know if it's. I feel like the Rode is probably, comparable to that one. But do I not have that on there? Yeah, slow-mo guys. Well, slow-mo guys shoot at 100,000, but they play back at 25. So 1,000 frames a second. How much light do you need? The sun in your room? Yeah, pretty much. But again, remember, I'm saying that 1,000 frames a second is your display resolution. So your monitor is doing 1,000 frames a second, 1,000 hertz. It's funny. I better not say it. I don't want to sell like rumors of what we talked about. But let's just say that realistically, I'll just say it. It's there's a lot of kids fight over like the difference between 144 hertz and 160 hertz and 200 hertz, and it's like the difference between those is minuscule. You need to double. So if 144 hertz, you need to go to 300 hertz. 300 hertz, you need to go to 600. Like you need to double, just like everything with psychophysics. You need to double it in order to really experience a difference. Like that's our eyes. The difference between light, one shade of gray and the one stop brighter, it's not that much actually visually, but it's double. It's always double. Rode Brothers started using Chinese pieces, so I used the originals Altron models, top in the world. Cool. There you go. Yeah, the Rode's been an interesting company. They kind of, in very many sense, their marketing was really really smart in that they basically they put their logo everywhere, right? And everyone had a Rode mic, Rode video mic, and it said Rode right on it. So that was like you instantly associated video production with the word Rode, you know. So they got pretty well known for that. You know, it was pretty successful. I'm really a big fan of the Rode wireless, the wireless Go mics. I think Go 2. I'm been very impressed by those little guys, and they're not too expensive. Not too expensive. Check their history in the site Rode. I should check it out. Why not? Rode. Yeah, the Go-To little mics are really pretty good. Let's see, where is their About Us? You made me look it up. I'm going to look it up. Oh, Rode X support. They're probably at the bottom. Go all the way down to the bottom. All right, now this is exciting stuff, right? Company About Rode. Global leader, technology, blah, 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 corporate talk, corporate talk, corporate talk, corporate talk. 1967, the Friedman Electronics and the parent company Rode, the first open doors in Sydney, Australia. Sydney, Australia. Established by husband and wife Henry and Astrid Friedman after migrating to Australia from Sweden. Friedman Electronics became a leader in the fledgling Australian audio industry, becoming experts in loudspeakers, amplifiers, and custom electronics, as well as dabbling in odd microphones. Friedman Electronics was the first company in Australia to carry the Dynacord console and gained fame in Australia, whilst Henry sat behind the desk mixing a young Tom Jones during his 1968 tour of Australia. The birth of Rode happened in 1990 when the technological advance and relatively low-cost equipment for home recording enthusiasts hit the heights in the early 90s. The stage was set for an entry level of affordable, high-quality microphones. Having sourced the modified large diaphragm condenser microphones from China and tested the market with great interest, Henry's son Peter Friedman began creating an infrastructure to design, build, manufacture microphones in Australia. Rode was born. The microphone was then now iconic NT1, which would go on to become the best-selling microphone of all time. Wow, that's pretty cool. And this is soon followed by the NT2, another immediate success as well, and truly kickstarted the Rode journey toward revolutionizing how creators capture audio. So there you go. What is this Rode X? Is that some sort of podcasting thing? Yeah. How many podcasts do there need to be in this world? There needs to be more, right? We need to do more podcasts. Don't tear it on, take it apart. Bob's your uncle. All right. What would e-ink add to the discussion? Those do not have a classic rolling refresh rate like LCD or OLED, but are static. I'm not sure as far as like frame rate, because I don't think e-ink necessarily has much of a frame rate. I remember having to Photoshop pictures onto a phone screen. Yeah, there's still that. The screen replacement stuff. Sennheiser is a trademark from Neumann. There you go. I imagine so. They're all, I'm sure they're all, like, you know, connected. EEV blog reference. He's down under. Okay, I'm getting lost there. I must be missing something. Yeah, it's like the Sony logo. All right. Ooh, my neck is. Since my last community post about opening shot from The Sound of Music, I also mentioned the opening of The Shining. Yeah. So yeah, my community post I was talking about how I just what we were talking about at the beginning of this podcast, this stream. I'm not like I was looking at if you go back and watch the original Sound of Music and how that opening shot where it's like the helicopter shot coming down to Maria and it's you see the Alps open up behind them. And it's not perfect. It's kind of janky. It's a little janky. It's not too bad. But it's a little like, a little floaty because it's a freaking helicopter. But that's the shot that we all remember. And I'm sure if we did it now, like everybody, it would be like on a virtual screen. It would be a techno crane in. It would be absolutely perfect. But no one cares. No one cares. So I wonder how they add phone screens today. They're translated usually maybe AI. It's not too hard. Basically, on the phone, you might put like some markers. Have the phone have a marker. Have a little tracking marks on the phone. And then there's a lot of tracking software out there that for After Effects or whatever that make real easy. It's called planar tracking. It's really easy, like technically nowadays, to replace a phone. So you just have to do some tracking. Very good. And then maybe a couple little rotoscoping if you need to like have things go over the phone. It's not terribly hard to do. If you can actually Google it and find a lot of tutorials on how to do it. Have drones killed the Hollywood area helicopter industry? In some ways, yes. Some ways, no. Because drones are only allowed to fly up to 400 feet. So you're not allowed to go above 400 feet with a drone, unless, of course, you probably get clearance and high dollar productions would have high end drones. The other problem with drones too is there's limited distances that you can go. So a helicopter, in some ways, in some approaches, is still a little bit cheaper and easier to do. Like I was thinking about some of these shots. Like I was watching the TV show Bosch. Bosch has some great, shots of L.A. But the thing is, those shots really couldn't be done with a drone because, first of all, the flight is way too fast. So it's going like not a couple hundred, but like 100 miles an hour. Like they're doing like a tracking shot. It's going at least 100 miles an hour. Maybe they could speed up a little bit, but it's going pretty fast. And it's also going very high. So it's got to be, well, no, it's not going that high. It's got to be like at least 600 or 700 feet, 800, maybe 1,000 feet. So they're love Bosch. Yeah. It's such a good show, right? It was, and it encapsulates LA so well. But anyhow, yeah, there's certain things that the helicopter is just better for. I remember last time I was in Santa Monica at the pier, I saw someone shooting something with a helicopter. They're flying by it. There's just certain things you can do with a helicopter that are easier than you can with a drone. But like small stuff. Like the thing is like, back in the day, I would tell my clients like, hey, if you want a helicopter shot, you can make that in the budget. It's going to cost you like, $50,000. But now, I can bring the drone, shoot it up in the air, get a shot of your business, and come right back down. No one's, is it a game changer? Yeah, I guess. If you want, but it's definitely opened up the tool chest a lot. I have not seen the ambulance movie. I'm kind of curious because I want to see the kind of, because he uses like the racing drones and the first person stuff. I'd like to see some more of that. I should just check that out. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. Road trick is to buy a bunch of Chinese pieces and give customers a life warranty. There you go. The funny thing, now I want to rant a little bit. Every time I go on Reddit or something, or even Facebook, and you see like people like, hey, my thing's not working. My thing's not working. What can I do to fix it? And the answer is contact the manufacturer. Because somebody like Rode will just probably replace it if you can show proof of purchase, I know Sennheiser was really good about that. Not Manfrotto, but what's the name of my tripod? I can't remember. Not Manfrotto, it's the Sackler. Sackler was very good at it. I had a Ergo Human office chair. And all I had to do was show him my proof of purchase. I replaced every single piece on that office chair because I had a lifetime warranty. Like every single piece except for like the mesh. They won't cover the mesh. But you can buy another mesh seat for it. But like every piece is you just got to reach out to the manufacturer. But it feels like the latest generation has a fear of contacting. I mean, I guess maybe I have this a little bit too. Like I would rather Google something than ask for help sometimes. Like I'll be walking down in Vegas, I'll be walking down the mall and I want to try to find the restaurant. I go to the map instead of going to concierge. I just go to the concierge. Hey, where's the restaurant I want to go to? Oh yeah, it's down there. No, but I'll try to find my own answer because I'm a man and man can only help himself. I'll never stop and ask for directions. But yeah, we got like actually, get to approach people and ask for help. Anyhow. Yeah. So game changer means something suddenly got cheaper, like drones. I don't think it necessarily means that. Like I said, I don't think the thing is like a lot of drone shots you actually can't do with a helicopter. Like I'm thinking even like a if you were saying following a car driving through the woods if you do it from like 100, if you do it from like 70 feet, a helicopter can't do that. You'd have to do basically a follow car with like a jib. That's the only way to pull that off. But anyhow, what do I think about the Internet Archive in general and how angry book publishers are? I would like your thoughts about the last video from YouTube channel All Things Lost, which is about this. I don't know anything about it. Yeah, I don't know. Is that the Internet Archive where they're just basically scanning every single book and then just storing it in like a Library of Alexander kind of a thing? Yeah, I've seen drone shots that the chopper can't do. Absolutely, yeah. I would say, and even like if say a client, I've never done this exactly, but say a client owns a factory building and they have a sign, and so you can take a drone up there and get right close to the sign and then pull back and go up to like 100, 200 feet. So you get that shot. A helicopter could never pull that. I mean, it could, but it'd be very, very dangerous to pull that off. But a drone could do it easily. Yeah. It's such a pain to do the rebate, though. I mean, for fries. Yeah, fries could be a little bit of a pain, though. I miss fries, though. Because fries is the only place you can go buy like some nerdy electronic stuff. Now it's just Amazon it. Yeah, drones can fly through windows and stuff. There you go. Yeah, exactly. I did a I can tell the story now. So we did this a couple years ago. We did this the Royal We. Did this kind of first person droning at this campsite that they built in Lake Elsinore. And they hired what considered a professional, a drone outfit, and they did pretty good. But they flew they flew racing drones, and I was flying a CineWhoop drone. So we were both out there shooting. I figured, well, I'll shoot some, he shoots some, we'll put them together and make a little commercial of it. And he got some really cool shots, though. The stuff that I wouldn't be able to do because he was flying super fast. My CineWhoop is more of a slow. Yeah, I can go fast, but I tend to fly it pretty slowly. But I did a shot. They built these yurts, and these yurts have two doors. So what we did was we opened the doors. We had the drone go through the yurt, go into the yurt, out the other door, turn around, go to the next yurt, go through that, and then turn around, go up real high, come back, and like do a dive bomb into the last yurt, which is huge, which had a door open. We flew through the yurt, out the front door, and then through like a little banister and out to the lake. So that was a cool shot. We did set that all up. But then the racing drone thought he was going to be cool and he's going to try to do something similar without scoping it out first, right? So we got our shot done, and then some people were there. They closed the last door, but then they didn't close the front door. And so his racing drone goes into the door, and then all I hear is he like rips up, he like crashes his racing drone in a yurt, like taking out like a vintage poster. I don't think it was how vintage it was, but yeah, he messed up this poster, and it's like, oh god, dude, you should have like at least scope it out, go over there, make sure that door isn't closed, so you have an actual escape route, But yeah, and he was a racing drone, so my CineWhoops are drones that have little cushions on all sides. So if I hit something, no big whoop, no big CineWhoop. But the racing drones don't have those cushions because they're designed for speed and agility. So it knocked something. It destroyed a poster. That's all the damage. Luckily, that's all the damage that he did. So anyhow, that was fun. I would love to do some more CineWhoop stuff, but I just haven't got the time. But there you go. Can you actually control the drone and the shot, or do you need a pilot to control the camera only? I generally control you can on larger drones you might have an operator that handles the camera, and then the pilot does something different. But all my stuff I just control both. In fact, I generally just fly. I fly like the camera like I would fly a person or a gimbal. Like I won't. I won't fly this way with the camera shoot. I'm always flying the camera straight ahead. The cool thing about drones is you don't necessarily need to be flying in the direction that you're aiming. So I'll aim. My thing. I take a very cinematic approach to my drone work. It's all I shoot 24 frames a second on my drone because I don't want to try to shoot 60 and then dump it down to 24. It won't quite look right. But on top of that, I'll be making mistakes. Like I need to shoot in the frame rate I want to deliver, so I need to be careful with my controls. I have to, be very gentle. So I train myself to be very gentle with the controls so I can and I do a lot of orbital shots. Orbits are my favorite thing to do. In fact, that's all I do, basically. I do mostly orbit. If I'm doing the big drone, the Mavic, no, not the big one, but the picturesque drone, I'll do orbits around landmarks and stuff like that. I always love more than one angle movement, right? So you've got to have, if I can pull off a ascent and a orbit, then that's even better. But I'm always about multiple movements. Drones drop payloads and helicopters drop communists. There you go. That's all boiled down right there. Internet Archive did some copyright violations, but I hope they are never forced to shut down. They do amazing work in preserving Internet's history, so many sites no longer exist. You can go on there, look up Filmmaker IQ's old sites, actually. See the old versions. All the old style stuff that we had. Game changers are also ways to not pay people as much. The gig economy, Uber, Lyft, and essentially just less regulated taxis and hotels. Yeah. Thing is, though, like I think also when we talk about game changer, especially when it comes to film, it's not that. I think the game hasn't changed. The game is always how do you capture emotion, how do you capture attention, how do you capture interest, and that game hasn't changed. If I could shoot 48 on a drone, that would be a plus. You can shoot. Yeah, I guess you can shoot 60, but not 48. But what model do I own? The Mavic 2. I have the Mavic 2 I use for my like slow and high shots. And then for the FPV, which I haven't done a whole lot of, and I wish I could do more, Cinelog 25, and it's a 25 Cinelog 25 by what's the name of that company? Get RP. I don't know. Jet FPV or something like that. And then I also have another one. I forget. It's a green. I can't remember the name of that sucker for the life of me. But yeah, I use the DJI Mavic 2. I've looked at the Mavic 3 and I thought, looks great. If I didn't have a Mavic 2, I would get the Mavic 3. But I have the Mavic 2, and I have yet to say, gosh, I really need I need something better. Because it looks really good. There it is. GEP RC. That's the one. Yeah, GEP RC. I couldn't remember for the life of me. The other one I have was, it's not GEP RC. It's a green. It's called the Bumblebee, I believe. Bumblebee. But that's a frame. So you realize, like, when you get into the world of FPV, it's not really a package deal yet. I mean, there are packages available. You can buy a package FPV, but it's a lot of mixing of figuring out, you're buying this component, this air unit, this particular camera setup, and then you're buying the, GoPro. I guess they make a GoPro Lite now, or GoPro. It used to be called GoPro Naked, but they have a light version that you can put on a drone. That's really, takes all the guts out of it. It's not like, and I think DJI might have a Cine Whoop either out or in the works. I know they have their FPV. I got it, and I looked at it and I sent it back because I thought it was too big for what I wanted to do. So, but and I didn't like the FPV. I didn't like the idea of the way the controllers worked. Early reviews of Guardians of the Galaxy 3 are positive. That's good. I don't think I'd be interested in an MCU movie after this, like The Simpsons. The story really ended with Endgame with No Way Home. Yeah, MCU's in trouble. What What aspects of making movies do you think AI could take over easily? Could ChatGPT do the script? No. You don't want it to. Do you think that movies now have good scripts? Do you think movies have great scripts now? Do you want them to be worse? Because that's what ChatGPT would. That's what ChatGPT would do. I've come around to the notion that AI is just another tool in the toolbox. There will be uses for AI that will hopefully take the drudgery out of the work. That's the goal. I'm hope because really as creators we want to express ourselves, but we don't necessarily want to be mired in the drudgery of certain tasks, right? Well, good evening, Wing It Productions. How you doing? So I think that's what AI is going to be ultimately solving for is taking some of the drudgery out of things. So, maybe ChatGPT like, hey, write me a contract for this actor on a certain date, and then create a boilerplate contract, stuff like that. I don't think it will. So what I did was I did ask ChatGPT to create a script for me at one time. I was thinking about doing this as a video, but I don't know. It feels kind of like a pointless video. I asked it to create a script of a first date between Brenda and Tony. And those are the two characters in my comic book. And it was awful. It was so bland. Of course it's bland. Because remember what AI is. AI is a generative tool for predicting things, predicting the probability of what word would come next, what concept would come next. It's not necessarily thinking of something. That's the problem with AI, right? It's not really intelligent. It's just predicting patterns. So I had it write me a script, and it was so devoid of anything. There's nothing in it. It was the worst, most bland script I've ever seen, and that's what it is. It's today. I don't have a comic book yet. I'm working on it. I've sketched. It's a 3-book. It's going to be a 3-book novel, but I've sketched 2 of them, and I need to sketch the 3rd one, and I'll go back and ink them and fill them in. But I really do want to have. I want to make it and put it out there because I want to have something made, and I really can't afford to make this as a movie. I just can't. Because it's got 12 characters, 12 lead characters. It's a what you call it, an ensemble piece. Oh, whose line is it anyway for AI? Yeah. What's a Colbert ad? YouTube show. What's a Colbert? I don't even know what a Colbert is. Or is it Colbert? Oh, Colbert, the lights. That's kind of cool. The light doesn't look too expensive. It looks kind of nice. One of these days I gotta get some more. I keep collecting LED lights. I should add that to. Although I the other day I was thinking about, maybe I should pick up an Aperture 600 because those look pretty cool. Imagine telling a leftist chatbot to create a Tarantino-like script and getting a document full of star instead of strong language. Probably. That's the thing. You'll never. People are like, oh, you want AI. I don't think. Here's the thing. I'm just getting rid of that here. Here's the thing. You don't want AI movies. You just don't. You want movies from humans, because I don't think the AI has necessarily anything good to say, interesting to say. I don't think AI has anything to say. AI, or at least, does ChatGPT have a burning desire to write a script? Yeah, we already see AI screwed up Google search. There's an obsession over. It's funny on Twitter. Somebody was posting like they asked Midjourney to come up with a bunch of pictures of what they thought professors would look like for certain fields, and they asked it like, what was an art teacher would look like, and it'd be the gray-haired lady, dignified-looking lady. What would this, And it was so. It was. I'm gonna be. I'll say it. It was a little racist. Every single professor that they envisioned was white and old, white with gray hair. Every single one, except for one. You know which professor that they gave a non-white person? Ethnic studies. Like Midjourney was being straight up racist. Like there was no Asians, there's no black people, there was no Mexican people. It was all white people with gray hair. And it's like literally envision every single professor was a white person with gray hair. So not a single Asian or Indian or black or Mexican, Latina, none of that. So it's like, yeah, like I said, you don't want. I think was it the Ruffo brothers were saying that it'd be cool if AI you just tell AI, hey, make me a movie with Marilyn Monroe and she's in this movie and then you don't want that either. You don't want that. That's like I don't know. Maybe I have something issue with my friends. Sometimes I feel like they're not willing to try new things, right? Because I think the fun of life is not knowing what's going to happen next and getting surprised by something. And you're not going to sit there and hey Netflix, show me a movie with Marilyn Monroe, but it's in the style of a Farrelly Brothers comedy from the 1990s. It's like no, you want to see. Art is about hearing what other human voices have to say, and AI is just not gonna do it, or at least what we consider AI today. If you came up with AI that had a conscious, different story, but the current state of AI, the pattern recognition, it's soulless. Heck, a lot of stuff coming out of Disney is already soulless. Do we need more? And that's what AI would give you. AI creations right now are totally derivative of human creations as well, but less so on the whole. Pretty much, AI creations are definitively derivative. That's what they are derived from human stuff. So of course it is. Yeah, exactly. You're 100% correct. I asked ChatGPT for a good question to ask you. How do you stay up to date with latest trends and technologies in the film industry? That's not a bad question. I don't. That's the answer. I watch what's going on the web. I used to stay more up to date because I used to do the film blog at Filmmaker IQ. I hate blogging because I just hate that world, the mentality of blogging. It's so vapid. Because then I would say this is a game changer. That's all I would say every day. I go to NAB. I watch other YouTubers talk about certain things. I'm kind of, just following along, and I just I Google search stuff because I might have an issue a problem that I'm looking for a solution to, and I'll go look up that kind of thing. So there you go. There's ChatGPT at work there. I was hoping it wouldn't ask me, what's your favorite movie, John? Anyhow. The Player is Robert Altman's film that showed exactly what we would get with AI films when we see how the Hollywood executives treat art. As long as humans exist, many of us won't ever want AI films. Yeah, at least not in the current state of AI, right? If AI develops a consciousness and becomes, in that sense, human-like, maybe. Maybe we want to hear what the artificial intelligence has to say at that point. But the current state where it's just basically looking for patterns, we're not going to. I don't think it's going to be anything to be concerned with. Now, like I said, I've had people come on here and just yell at me. Oh, see you later, Helium. But I've had people come up here and yell at me. Oh, you're wrong. You will regret the fact that when AI takes your job away. It's like, yeah, go right ahead. I'll happily do fewer, really rinky-dinky jobs that people could do on an AI. I'm happily give that up, but I don't see it taking my job because, frankly, it's like Photoshop. Photoshop's available for everybody to use, but they still have to call me because they need help making their video or their graphic design because they want me to Photoshop and use Illustrator because that's what I do. Same thing with AI. I'm going to use AI to help my work. Although honestly, every time I try to use AI, it doesn't work. It's not good enough for what I want to do. It's good enough for like certain small things like creating backgrounds for the. This is not AI though, because I didn't have time today to make an AI background. But yeah, it's good for some things, but not for a lot of things. It seems only people who really think AI can improve art are tech bros. Like the tech bro would say, imagine your favorite TV show never ending, never content forever. That would be the zombie Simpsons. Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. Like, yeah, maybe it's the fact that I'm freaking old. I'm so old that it's just like, I don't care. I just don't care. AI rotoscoping totally rocks. There you go. That's a good example. Like rotoscoping is good. The AI transcribing tool. Come on. Like I was on Reddit and somebody's like, I can't stand AI's the Premiere's new transcription tool. And I'm like, every time I've tried to transcribe something, it's been almost perfect. Almost perfect. Maybe you get a word wrong here and there, but better than a human and in less time than the human could do it. So one of the things I do, I do these, I think I must have brought this up before. I do these student of the month programs, and sometimes the parents will come up and they don't speak English, they speak Spanish. So they give a little speech in Spanish. And what I use Adobe's transcribe tool to transcribe the Spanish. So Adobe, the AI, we call it AI, will be able to transcribe the Spanish for me. I take that transcription, I take it and put it into Google Translate. I do it like phrase by phrase. And then I read the Google Translate, and I basically, I have a limited understanding of Spanish from high school. So I understand the syntax and grammar of Spanish to a certain extent. I just don't have the vocabulary necessarily to handle it. So I can take Google and I will correct Google's translation and put them back on the video as captions. So that's a great use of AI technology. I would have, back in the old days, I would have had to like gone on Facebook and like gone to like a Facebook group, say, hey, can somebody, I can't pay for this, but does somebody mind if you just wrote me a transcription of this thing? It's only a 2-minute speech. Can you just transcribe it for me or do a translation for me? You have to wait like 4 hours, and somebody volunteers to do it, and then they get no. But then no, I can do this all in like 10 minutes. It's amazing. So that's a game changer, I guess. They could not replace the Simpsons' main 6 voice actors after 20 years of repeated failings. Fox is under their hostages. Yeah, is held as their hostages. Yeah. I don't know why they just don't let Simpsons stop. I just don't know why. Maybe they. I mean, I guess here's the thing: if it's still making money, why stop? If they can still make money on it, keep going. You're employing a bunch of people. I guess that's the way it is. I probably shouldn't tap the mic like that. So maybe there's a funny aspect of AI, despite all the code limits placed, being completely subversive in a funny way. Yeah. All right, I know the code can be like super liberal, but it's funny when it doesn't work. Yeah, I get that. Is there an old movie or TV show that you like less when it got remastered in HD? I think Star Trek Next Generation fitted better in SD. Huh. Yeah, you're probably right with Star Trek Next Generation. Because the show does lend itself to standard definition. Let's see. Well, the good example they always bring up is The Wire. I never watched The Wire though, because The Wire has very, very tight tight blocking for standard definition 4:3. I'm trying to think of another example that maybe I personally didn't like in HD. I can't think of any really. I'm trying. I don't remember a lot of shows that I experienced both in, I guess. Do creative series last? Well, Simpsons lasted longer than 3 seasons. Simpsons did a pretty good job. Usually people say that season 7 was when they really hit their high point, or 6 or 7, I think. I'm surprised an artist would be happy to see the creation like The Simpsons run 15 years or more past its prime become a husk of itself. I don't care how much money you are making. Well, think of it this way. So, let's say you created this show and it's making money, and everyone's making money, making gobs of money. On top of that, you've got a staff now. You've got like 15 writers. You've got, hundreds of people, animators that are working with you, working on the show for you, you know. And you think about all those people, their income, their 100% of their income comes from your show, right? And the fact is that if your show, if you said, hey, all right, we're done with this show, I'm not going to do anymore, even though you've already handed off the writing and the creative aspect to other people, right? You just, at this point, you're collecting a check. But everyone else is, and generally, no one hates The Simpsons. I mean, maybe people may not like the newer episodes, but it's making money, and there's a fondness in the world for it. But if you were to say no more show, all those animators, all those workers, all that staff would have to find new jobs. I don't know. Or you could just let the show keep going, and all those people would be employed and making money, and then you don't have to necessarily do anything because you've got writers that do the show. I think it's not as simple as just saying, well, my artistic vision is not fulfilled, therefore shut it all down. I don't think that's a big way of a broad way of looking at it. I mean, it makes sense. I agree. If the show was like, say, live action, maybe it's different because those actors might want to do something else. But it's animation; people can, just give me a different concept, different point of view. Red Letter Meteor pointed out there's a lot of black construction paper on the panels. That's interesting. I think TNG and HD looks great. What makes you like it less? That's good. Yeah, I think referring to referencing the other person, I think it just has a little different character in HD. Not so small confined look, I guess. There's a response there to me. The sets didn't look as good anymore, especially outdoor scenes on planets just look like stage. Remember looking more realistic in SD. Yeah, I think that's a valid point because it's smaller. Yeah, the writers made The Simpsons as great as John Schwa can't remember his name, has already left. Even the best writers he feeding you are still not the human brain. Or wait, no, but he needed 50% rewrite. Simpsons is produced by a team, not individually. Yeah. Yep. Mark works on AI. The future of technology is multimodal AI, trained to database of text and pictures, everything dynamically integrated and feeding each other, and not the human brain. There you go. Seeing the D in CGI form on Picard's was weird, though. And always be careful with the D, gentlemen. Never send her the D right away. I mean, always hold back the D. We're talking about the Enterprise, right? Yeah. Don't send an unsolicited D pic. Please don't. But all the talent left years ago, yes, short. Well, talent. I mean, talent. All the talent. Oh. There's people that work on the show. It's not just all AI writing. Could you imagine? Simpsons is all replaced with AI. It's just chat bots in a room together. The chat GPT writers room, and it's just like chat botting, sending each other prompts. That's where we're at now. All right, I think I've been on for 2 hours. It's been a long show. I'm getting tired. My voice is getting tired. I'm getting tired. Everyone's getting tired. My neck's not feeling too bad right now, so I'm surviving. I'm making it through. Any last minute comments before I head off to probably go get dinner? I don't know what the guys are doing. I don't know if we're watching Neil Bremer playing a board game tonight. Yeah. Oh, hey, Matt was watching. Dang it. Now he's not watching. How about a crazy wedding? How about a crazy wedding when something happens? Do. Sorry for the clip show. Have no fear. We got stories for you. Oh, there it is. How about a crazy wedding? Sorry for the clip show. Have no fears with stories for years. Like, yeah. Alrighty. Yeah, I haven't watched The Simpsons since the movie came out. I will occasionally catch an episode. Well, I don't catch any more now because I don't have cable. So I never see a new episode. But when I did, I would casually catch one and think it's okay, it's watchable, it's like a box wine. It's drinkable, but you're not going to remember it. Oh, thank you, Andre, for the ISK 300. Thank you very much. Have a great evening, mate. See you later. All right, well, wrapping it up here. People don't know what AI tools already used for years. Look at the Wired's video on making a Spider-Verse, or how James Cameron used AI to help a lot of Pandora. So, yeah. Well, those are Pandora's, like, what's it called? Procedurally generated stuff. Yeah, Wingit says watchable is all TV needs to be. Yeah, pretty much. Oh, you got a joke on last year's Treehouse of Horror? Did they taken like write-in jokes or something like that? That's kind of cool. Andre for the $1. Thank you so much. Super chat. Alrighty. All right, guys. Well, it is 5:30. Let's wrap this sucker up. It's going to be a busy week. I got that one critique that I need to work on. As I said, I've got 3 ideas for frame rate. I'll just share it to you. The 20 people still watching. So my idea was the next video would be what's the frame rate of reality, or what frame rate do we need to simulate reality? So it's going to take the opposite view of the human eye and go for the reality, how to simulate it. And the short answer is 1,000 frames per second is a good starting point, but really it's going to be like 10 to 20,000 frames per second. And then I want to do why your gaming monitor sucks for watching movies, and then maybe what we can do to fix that. And then also the last one in my series, 2 more in my series, I wanted to do a video on how to shoot up your game when you're shooting 24 frames a second. People always say people need to up their game for shooting high frame rate. No, the opposite is true. You need to up your game to shoot 24 frames a second. You can't just shoot 24 frames a second like a moron and call it good. You got to actually do a good version of 24 frames a second. Okay, and now last one I do about shutter speed and regards to motion blur. There's a lot. I more than one occasion have people told me and talk to me about shutter speed and just completely missing the idea that you need to actually figure out. You need to actually study a series of frames, not just a single frame, in order to determine motion blur. Somebody said the human brain has a refresh rate of 60 hertz. I don't know about that. Maybe closer to like 80 or something like that. There are certain pulses in the brain that you might be able to classify as a refresh rate. Not really. You really can't consider it all that. But anyhow, Planck length time. It's actually not that high. It's more about the frame rate of reality is more about visual acuity than anything else. Anyhow, that's all. There we go. All right, guys, have a good weekend, and I will see you guys if I figure out how to turn this thing off. All right, we'll see you guys next week for another stream. And hopefully maybe we can get the critique done this week. Let's knock on wood and see if we get that to happen. All right, guys, take care. I will see you later. Bye-bye now.